So here is Eton on day 67, and I'm going to have to apologize because I've had some issues with my phone, so I've lost a lot of recordings, unfortunately, so there's a little bit of a gap from the last time you guys saw Eton. But here he is. I have him working on standing tide and picking up our feet in the hallway. Now, I've chosen to go back to tying him in the hallway because in the cross ties, he's pretty comfortable in the cross ties because he's got a solid 3 walls behind him, but he has a lot of anxiety with stuff behind him, so this is really good practice in working on grooming and picking up our feet and doing all those things just on a constant and consistent basis has helped him a little bit. So I've got him saddled up, and I decided to put on his splint boots for the first time. He was actually very good about this and dealing with the sound of the Velcro, and I was really pleased with how he handled that. And then headed into the round pen, and again, unfortunately, my phone for some reason quit on me, and it's normally just me, so the struggle sometimes of using a device and not having another camera on hand to switch out. So I did not have the beginning stages of how I introduced this, so I started off just with myself dragging the cone, and again letting him sniff the cone and doing a little bit of retreat like that, letting him follow the cone at first. And so I did all those steps first, and now I've graduated to having it attached with the rope around the horn of the western saddle. Now he's handling this pretty well, and oftentimes I like to start by dragging it in the kind of center, so it'll be on the side so it's not directly behind them, because again, his biggest issue is things behind him. It's taken him a long time, and you know, he's pretty sensitive about the things that he sees. Now, I have had his eyes checked, and his eyes are perfectly fine. It's just Eton. So, working on building his confidence. You can see he handled that cone being thrown back there pretty well. He was in a really nice mindset today. Got a little lick and chew. And I'm working on pulling that cone a little closer. But again, he felt in a really good kind of working zone. So now I'm just going and changing the way the cone is attached. You see he handles that really well. So working on, now it's going to touch his bum, and he's had a lot of rope work done. So and again, if you guys remember, kind of in the beginning, he actually likes having the feeling of the rope behind him. It's a little bit of a security blanket. But I have to say I was rather shocked at how well he handled this session. I was not expecting for this to happen this way. And so we're just working on him following me, and then with the cone, and the cone kind of grabbed the tarp, and he didn't seem to mind, so I just kind of kept kind of going with it. And he also did really well because the rope kind of got a little bit underneath the saddle, but sometimes those things happen. He gets a little nervous when it bumps over to the other side, but I reassure him and give him a rub. So now I'm going to work this side, and with it touching on this side of his bum. Just trying to get all my stuff organized, and then ask him to walk. Again, that was kind of a fail, and he handled me pulling that tarp up behind him really well. Again, he's in a nice mind frame today. His head's a lot lower. He's licking and chewing. He's taking breaths. I'm pretty excited too, because it's really fun when this starts to happen. Whoop. there he got a little spooked by something. So just goes to show me he's got a good mindset in there. I just have to help him learn how to think his way through things. But some horses tend to be natural with dragging or jumping, or it's kind of fun to see what they're good at, just like how, and everyone's different. Every single horse is completely different, and it's just kind of a matter of figuring out what they are really good at and then kind of honing those skills. So now changing direction, dealing with that tarp in his eyesight. And he's got the flappy things of the caution tape, kind of put that everywhere. And he doesn't seem to mind that anymore. It's helped with the confidence. And again, I do this for a good while, playing around with the distance of the cone, whether it's close behind him and then farther apart. So you can see it's a little bit closer in distance. And now it's directly behind him. He gets a little worried and kind of moves sideways, but that's okay. Give him a rub. And the whole time I'm talking to him, so he does do well with the voice reward. When I tell him good boy, or when he gets a rub in between, he likes a rub in between his eyes or on his jaw. So take that off. Give him a little bit of a break. And I'm just readjusting the camera. And now working on the little cowboy curtain that I have set up. And he's pretty willing now to go in between it. And that was really good for him because this, it's right up against the barn, which you can't really tell here by the camera angle, but it's a smaller space, and so it's really good practice for him for trailer loading, or if anything touches him, just having him nice and relaxed like that is pretty nice. Now I grabbed a barrel and just trying to get him to start to learn to investigate things. For Eton, it's been he's been pretty closed off, and he makes pretty quick judgments of nope. So if he was a person, he'd be a very judgy person. But he's starting to lick and chew here, so again, I'm just trying to work on giving him some confidence, and kind of the way I like to start that is teaching my horses to reach with their nose to sniff objects, and I can add a word cue. For instance, I can say touch, and certain things like that. So right now I'm working on backing him into the caution tape, which he's handling that pretty well. And that was very good for Eton. That's a really big deal for him. And now just walking him around, letting him think about it. Step over the little tarp. Now I'm working on a little bit of body control. So doing a little pivot of where I move his shoulders around, and what I'd like to see is him to cross over a little bit better in the front. He kind of crosses under with the front legs. So I'm working on getting him to cross over right front over the left front. And so you see he kind of steps behind. And then when I am able to get him to cross over right there, I release and reward. And then back away, and he comes in for a little bit more reassurance in her head rub. Then I get a nice lick and chew. And now we're working on a little bit of sideways. So I'm looking for, one step of sideways. I'm going to increase a little bit of the pressure there. And I have worked on this, so he does know what I'm asking, but I'm having to build it up. So I'm looking just for that one step. Gets a little nervous. Right there. Then I give the release. And then I get a nice lick and chew. Then we're just going to sit there and think about that for a little bit. Again, I was really happy with that session with him. He was super good. So now I have him back in the hallway and working on giving him a cookie for standing nicely and untacking. Sometimes they can get the most nervous untacking. And so just working on, I have my working student Rachel, who's also hanging out around, and just having other people around is very helpful for him because he's very much, like I said, stranger danger, but he's handling that all really well. So I'm asking him to kind of step up just a little bit so he's not sitting on the... You see, sometimes when he gets a little nervous, he gapes his mouth when he wants the treat. So that's just nervousness. So I try to alternate back and forth between kind of praise and then a treat for him. And I'm just kind of finishing up with the saddle pad. And then walking behind him. He is pretty good on both sides. And he scared himself getting a cookie. That was really good. And then I'm going to finish by giving him a little bit of pats and taking off the splint boots. So you saw the Velcro kind of initiated a little bit of tension. But overall, he's handling it really well. And this was a really nice, positive day for Eton. And I was really, really happy with his progress today. Super good boy.